this session we will be discussing the topic draining of a tank. So this is a very small section from what is known as fluid mechanics, and in that we are into the subtopic Bernoulli's equation right now. So before discussing, let me actually explain the scenario as to what we are trying to decode here. So you have a tank having a certain area A, right? So the area of the cross section of the tank is A. If I make a hole, a very small hole of area small a, there will be some liquid. It's filled, by the way. The tank is completely filled. So above this area A, there is h height of liquid. So what will happen is there will be liquid will start coming out with some velocity v. Now what we want to know is what is this velocity v, and moreover what we also want to know is how much time will it take for this tank to completely get emptied, right? So from here, for the water level to drop from h to this like this much, let's say it's completely at the bottom. So how much time does it take for that to happen, right? So to solve all of this, we first need to know what Bernoulli's principle is. So it's a very simple equation. So let me first write the equation and then tell you when the equation is valid or not. So first of all, Bernoulli's equation goes like this. You have a term for pressure energy P plus half mv square divided by volume of the liquid. So remember, this is velocity and this is volume. This is velocity, this is volume, right? Plus mgh divided by v is equal to constant. This is what your Bernoulli's equation is, right? Your m is the mass of the liquid, v is the volume of the liquid. So mass by volume can be written as density of the liquid, right? So this is P plus half rho v square plus rho gh is equals to constant. This is the primary Bernoulli's equation that we are going to use to solve this particular case, and in fact for a lot of our questions in fluid mechanics, right? But when is this valid? That is the question, right? So for instance, if you have a pipe and the flow in the pipe, there's fluid in the pipe, the flow of the fluid in the pipe has to be streamlined. Or you could say non-turbulent. Moreover, viscous forces must be zero. Viscous forces must be absent. So these are the assumptions that we are making. That means what we are trying to say here is there's no heat loss. When you say viscous forces are absent, that means there is no sort of a resistance loss or a heat loss in the fluids. That's why this overall energy is remaining constant. Nothing is getting lost in the form of heat. But the second point, a streamline, that is very important. What do you mean by streamline flow? It means that if I pick up any section of this flow, the amount of fluid going inside the section and coming out must be the same at all times, right? It shouldn't happen that at some t equal to 1 second there is a certain amount of fluid coming in and going out, and at t equal to 2 that flow has changed, and at t equal to 3 that flow has changed. No, that shouldn't happen. Once it's fixed that how much is going in and how much is coming out, once that fixed for a time, that should remain the same for all the times, right? In a way, I can say that will happen only when flow happens in the form of streams, right? So flow shouldn't be like something like this, like it shouldn't be very weird. Only then it's likely to change. Otherwise, if the flow happens in such a way that every particle, is just flowing on its own streamline, right? There are streamlines which are flowing. So automatically you get an inclination, right? It's very intuitive that this is very symmetric. It's very arranged. So it's less likely to change, right? So moreover, whatever understanding you or whatever way you want to make yourself understand, just understand the fact that it has to be streamlined. I hope you can visualize what streamlines are, right? All of the liquid particles are on their own streamlines, and the streamlines are flowing constant. They are not intersecting with each other. These streamlines are not allowed to intersect with each other, right? That's what is known as a streamline flow. So this equation is valid only if your flow is streamlined. In fact, it's valid only on a streamline, right? So if I pick up a streamline from here to here, I can pick up 2 points, and on those 2 points I can apply Bernoulli's equation, right? I can conserve energy here and here on a streamline. But that's what the point is. If the flow itself is not streamline, how will you pick up a streamline and apply Bernoulli's equation to that? So that's the constraint here. So what we will do here is, to solve this particular concept, we will assume a streamline from here to here. The streamline must be the same for the entire fluid, right? That's the point here. You can't have multiple fluids here and then expect yourself to apply Bernoulli's equation. No, your fluid must be the same. The streamline through the fluid must be the same, right? So I'll pick up this point 1 and this point 2 and apply Bernoulli's equation. So let's look at this point. What is the pressure here? It's the atmospheric pressure, P0 plus. Let's say this is coming down with capital V. And this is going out with small v, so I have half rho capital V square plus, if I assume this to be h equal to 0, if I assume this to be with height equal to 0, then that point is at a height capital H from there, right? So it will be plus rho g h is equals to, so this is constant, right? The sum of these 3 terms is constant. So sum of these 3 terms at point 1 and point 2 must be the same because it's constant, right? So at point 2, once again I have P0 pressure here from outside, right? This is the atmospheric pressure. So I have P0 plus half rho small v square, right? So remember, this is capital V and this is small v square plus rho g 0, because I've assumed that this is my reference line, this is my h equal to 0, right? So I'll keep continuing, this p can be cancelled, this is anyway 0. So I have half rho capital V square plus rho g capital H is equals to half rho small v square. Now if I know capital V, I can use this particular equation to get my small v. I was trying to get what small v was, right, if you remember initially. So but there's one approximation that we can do. Let's look at what that approximation is. So I will say that there's equation of continuity which I can use here, right? What is equation of continuity? It says that volume per second, or I can say flow, which is my volume per second, is constant, right? That is what it is. So what does that mean? That means if 10 liter per second was flowing here in a streamline, at this point as well you have 10 liter per second flowing, right? So dV by dt, I can say dV by dt, where this V is volume, it's not velocity, it's volume, right? So rate of change of volume is the same. The same volume is flowing at this point and at this point. Across every point on the streamline, volume flow rate must be the same. And this dV by dt can be written as area into velocity, right? Area into velocity. You can check the dimensions if you want. This is meter square and this is meters per second velocity. So you have meter cube per second, which is nothing but the dimensions of dV by dt, right? So I can say capital A into capital V must be equal to small a into small v, right? Because this is dV by dt at point 1, this is dV by dt at point 2, and dV by dt must remain the same throughout the streamline, right? So you have AV is equal to AV. Now there's one approximation that we will do from this equation and eliminate this term, because this term is creating slight problems for us here. So what I can do is capital V is equals to A by A into small v, right? Capital V is equals to A by A into small v. Now I'll replace capital V with this. So this is half rho, this is A by A into small v square plus rho gh is equals to half rho small v square. Now you have half rho small a by a square v square. This is small v square and this is also small v square now, right? This was capital V square, which we have replaced from this particular equation, plus rho gh is equals to half rho small v square. Now this a by a is very, very small when compared to 1, right? So what I have assumed is this tank has a huge cross-sectional area and this is a very, very small area, right? So when that happens, your a by a will be very, very small when compared to 1. That means a square by a square will be even more smaller. It will be very, very negligible. If it's very, very negligible, then I can completely ignore this term, right? I can ignore this term when compared to this term and this term, because it will be very, very small. So I've just ignored that. So that is what will solve my problem now. So this rho gets cancelled. This is not b, by the way, this is rho. This rho gets cancelled. So I have v is equals to root 2gh. This is the formula, or this is what I will say is the approximated formula for the speed of efflux. This is known as speed of efflux, or speed of the liquid which is coming out of the fluid, right? So as you can see, if you know this, if you remember, it's very, very easy to remember, right? It's actually something like you have a ball here, right? Your ball, if you drop it at u equal to 0 from a height h, what will be the final velocity here? You'll use the third equation of motion, which is v square minus u square is equals to 2gh. Right, so this u square, because u equal to 0, I can just cancel it. So v will be equal to root 2gh. So you can just assume that this is a ball. This is just a ball which is falling from a height h. Then with what velocity will it come out? It's the formula is the same. I'm not saying the concept here is the same. The concept here is completely different. As you can see, this is kinematics and this is like fluid mechanics concepts. But the result that you get here and here are the same. So you can use this particular, even if you forget all these methods, you can just remember a ball falling from a height h. It will acquire a velocity root 2gh at the bottom, and you can use the same thing here, right? So this is the speed of efflux which we have got. Now, our first task is accomplished, but we also had one more task at hand, which was to calculate that, okay, if this hole is at the bottom, let's say this is negligible, right? This height difference is negligible, and I've made a hole completely at the bottom, then how much time will it take for me to empty the tank, right? So for that also, there's a very, very simple method. Let's say at a certain instant of time, this particular level has come down to some h, right? Some small h, right? So at that instant of time, I can say that this velocity that you see here, a into small b, this is small b, by the way, yeah. A into small b will be equal to capital A into, let's say the velocity here will be v dash, right? The velocity here will be v dash at this instant of time. That will be equal to capital A into v dash, right? Capital A into v dash. But what is this v dash? It is a rate of change of height, right? It is a rate of change of height. So I can say A into small b is equals to A into dh by dt, right? This is also meter per second, this is also meter per second. Basically the rate of change of height. But the thing is, as your height is decreasing, because your height is decreasing in nature, it's not increasing, I have to account for that by putting a negative sign against dh by dt, right? Because it's increasing in nature, it's decreasing in nature, right? So just to make sure that this whole quantity is positive, because this a into v is positive, this capital A is positive, to make sure that dh by dt is positive, I have to put that negative sign, because actually your height is decreasing with time, right? So av is equals to minus a into dh by dt. Now here is where we will start our thing here. This particular result that you see, a into, if the height was h above, like if the height was not capital H, because we have forgotten about capital H completely, now we are at a general case where the level is at small h from this hole, right? If the level is small h above, then the velocity here also will be root 2g into small h and not capital H. This was capital H when your level was, when you had root 2gh when your level was capital H above, right? But here it's small h, so this will be root 2g into small h is equals to minus a into dh by dt, right? So what I'll do is, I need the time required, so I'll send dt that side. I'll have my minus a by a here with me, into 1 by root 2g also will be there, right? Root 2g will be there, and you'll have dh by root h, right? So minus a by a, 1 by root 2gh dh, that's all there. So let's say everything started at t equal to 0. So at t equal to 0 your level was h. So I'll integrate this from t equal to 0 to t equal to capital T. Capital T is the time required for me to empty the tank. And then this will integrate from, these are levels of h, right? So h is going from capital H, it's going from capital H to h equal to 0, right? I'm assuming that this 2 is at completely at the bottom and it's at 0 level, right? So I'll just integrate this. This is t minus 0 is equals to minus a by a root 2g will just come out, and I'll have h power minus half plus 1 divided by minus half plus 1 going from capital H to 0, right? I can send this negative sign inside and reverse the limits. I can do that, right? So this capital T is equals to a by a into root 2g, that's there, into this is root h divided by 1 minus half, which is half, right? And this is now 0 and h. The limits are reversed because I've taken the negative sign that way, right? So this is a into 2 will go up and it will cancel out, and you'll have a root 2 divided by a root g, and you also have a root h, which when put in when the limits are put in, it is root h minus 0, right? In fact, if I didn't want to know, if I wanted to know after how much time will it reach h, instead of using 0 here, I would have used some small h, right? Instead of using capital T here, I would have used some small t, and then I would have got the answer accordingly, right? So the answer to the question is a into root 2 into root h divided by a root g. This is the time required to empty the tank completely. So with this, I hope you understood the concept of Bernoulli's equation and application of that in draining of a tank. And these are a couple of formulas which are useful to you, especially this one. Even if you just remember this one, you should be able to solve the problems. So with this, we complete this particular session. I hope you found it informative. Thanks for watching.